Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center, New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome back to the farm. Kastuba's live in Mayapur today, and Mara's back at her house, and we're rolling with this.
All right.
First things first. You like my new shirt? You like my new shirt? It's the Black Flag Hare Krishna shirt.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Very interesting. Very interesting.
I got that from my guy Nisringa Das from Vulcan House. You can follow them on Instagram, VVLCANHAUS. VVLCANHAUS, Vulcan House.
And
but they make a lot of cool stuff.
Did they send me one too? Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You want the God honest truth, Kastuba?
I do.
No, they didn't. They just sent it to me.
Okay, no,
but I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will in a heartbeat. And a matter of fact, Nisringa Das just told me this really tough story, but I'm gonna have him on and talk about himself and his family and their company and the stuff he's going through right now. Would make a really good walk on Wednesday. So let them come down.
All right, I got a walk on Wednesday idea or two as well. So
yeah, I want any Mayapur updates you got too.
Well, right now, I tell you, I feel, Raghunath, this place, there's just nothing like it. Sublime here,
Yeah.
On so many levels. It's like, first the deities. Did I maybe even talked a little bit about it on the show, but I was standing in front of Radha Madhava and the Astasakis, right?
The 8 cowherd girlfriends of Radha. So
yeah,
this is when you talk about an altar, you usually think, I got a little altar in the corner of your house. This is an altar. You just stand there in awe. First of all, they're 6 feet tall.
Like 6 feet tall or something.
They're bigger than human size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just very beautiful. So you have Radha and Krishna in the middle. And then the 8 Astasakis, meaning the eight friends, right? 8 girlfriends, right?
Yeah.
These are, and they're each in a different figure, a different posture, each in a devotional posture. And I don't know, was I sharing with you, like the first day that I got here, the first morning I walked into that temple, you just turned sideways, by the way.
Did I turn sideways?
Yeah.
I can't figure.
But I stood there, I was in my buddy Tara took me right to the very front, the very front, and I was standing, I was looking at Radha and Krishna in the middle, and particularly something struck me, Radha. Sometimes you stand in front of these and you feel something a little special,
Yeah.
And I was looking at Srimati Radharani. I was looking at her.
She winked at you.
She didn't wink. No, she didn't wink.
Would that be cool?
It would be very cool, but I felt something like I never quite felt before, and I saw her standing with Krishna, and I thought of this this verse from the Brahma Samhita.
Yeah.
This one, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratabhavi Tabis Tabir Ya Evan Nijarupa Tayakalabi Goloka Evan Nivasatya Kalatma Bhuto Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda. These are beautiful prayers, right? That were said to be written by the creator of the universe, right? Of this particular universe, Lord Brahma. I worship Govinda. I worship Krishna, right? The cowherd boy, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, speaking of the spiritual realm, which this world is a reflection of, right? Residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency, right? In other words, she is the embodiment of the potency that gives ecstasy to Krishna, right? It's something it's like she wants to please her beloved, and because that love is so pure, she's the embodiment of that love potency, right? And it says, and she's in the company of her confidants, the Sakhis, the all her girlfriends, who are embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form. So, and then it says, and this is what always catches me, and it says, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa, right? In other words, their bodies are permeated and vitalized, right, by his energy and the love that they feel. In other words, they're just buzzing, they're just alive. Those forms are alive with dynamic, ecstatic, devotional energy of love. And I was just sitting there looking at that form of Radha and saying, just to some tiny minuscule degree, understanding just a tiny bit more deeper than ever before, who Radha is and why she's so beloved and why she is actually, and once when she was standing there, that figure, I was feeling almost like she is the worshipable object even before Krishna, right? Because she has what we're all aspiring for: pure devotion, pure love. So
You know what I
was just gonna say, go ahead.
Now finish up because I'm going to.
Well, I was just going to say, in a place like this, in a place like Mayapur, you can feel things like that. It's like it gives blessings. It's this place is just giving. And you feel it. You feel it in the darshan, in the temple in front of the deities. You feel it bathing in the Ganges River. You feel it in the relationships. One moment I'm with someone like Vaisheshika Prabhu, like a senior person that I admire, I have nothing but respect for, and he's got nothing but affection. And you fit, this is, then I have friends like Tara, like lifelong friend, someone that I can relate to, we can open up with each other. Then you look around, and you just see the community here. The whole thing is just on every level is buzzing.
And people are coming from all over the world with their devotion and with their excitement. You know what I wanted to say is, sometimes I might be accused of, why aren't you just giving people straight up bhakti? Why do you mix it up with all this other stuff? And you do, like at the Eco Village, we do a sort of our own morning program. People say, well, you're going to go to the morning program? And I'm always like, no, we have our own morning program. No. So what I try to do, just to explain myself, what I try to do is make something that's very, very.
Now hold it. Why is Raghu freezing up? Is Raghu freezing up? People let me know.
No, I didn't get it.
That just froze up.
I think it was you, Kastub.
I think you're projecting. You want me to freeze.
I think I just froze up.
Yeah, I think Kastub is freezing.
Anyway, what I try to do when we do our morning programs at the Eco Village is try to make them accessible in a way, because sometimes the regular Hare Krishna morning program, the Bhakti, is sometimes a little too overwhelming if you're very new. So we break things down in little pieces, little pieces. Now, some of our people that have been coming around a while, some of the presenters, they developed an attachment to that morning program
on their own, right? It's those who push them into, but it rose in themselves.
It manifested out of that. So when we were doing our morning program, I was like, no, and I want to encourage them too. I said, hey, if you want to go to the ISKCON morning program, just go. And what happens is this very otherworldly phenomenon that you were mentioning which doesn't make any material sense whatsoever. Here you have what people would call an idol, a stone carving, and you have this relationship with this piece of stone that makes no sense whatsoever. It doesn't make any material sense, but it makes incredible spiritual sense. And if you've been to an ashram on a regular basis, like every day you show up in the morning and have a relationship with that quote idol, you'll understand like it is not just stone. There's something happening. There's some relationship being bonded. And when you go every day, or if you lived in an ashram where every morning you're there at 4:30 in the morning, something magical happens. And it can't even be sort of like, it wouldn't be the same if every morning I'm going to go to a chair. I'm going to sit in front of a nice wooden chair and look at a chair and sing songs to a chair. It wouldn't happen.
Right.
But there's something reciprocal that happens with deities. It happens with the person in the audience. It definitively happens with the priest who's serving. It happens with the other priests who are behind the curtains, behind those closed doors, are dressing, outfitting, rubbing oil on, putting to bed, waking up, chanting with mantras, offering food to. It is a very, very potent, powerful item of bhakti that is really, to a lot of the other religions, it's completely taboo. But to just regular people in the material world, it's just like weird. But when you're a devotee, it becomes like this whole next level thing that it's very, very difficult to explain.
Yeah. It's not even, you say a chair, even a Rembrandt or a Monet or something. No, not the same thing.
How long can you look at Mona Lisa for? How long are you going to look at that thing for? Oh, very good. Whoa, wow. Woo, Mona Lisa. Look at it from this angle. Look at it from this angle. Step back 10 feet. Who cares? After a while, it's like, okay. And the
There's
interesting
great painting.
thing is,
Yeah.
The interesting thing is some deities aren't like the most incredible sculpted art as well.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So yet the bhakta is like mesmerized. And you know, me and Mara and Skinnergy were just in Nathwar, where they worship Srinathji like it's like the Rolling Stones have just got on stage for a big reunion, and the people are like, what? And that's like every day, all day long, all the artiques. And the evening time, the evening artik, this is like my newest favorite artik, is not the Mangala, the early morning, but the nighttime, the
Sandhya.
No, after the Sandhya, the Shayana, the Shayana, am I pronouncing it right? Is when they actually in their night clothes, their pajamas,
Okay. That's your favorite. You're hoping for a pillow fight?
it's like good night, Krishna, good night. It's so sweet.
There's no question you are an elderly gopi in the spiritual world, and everything points to it. Right? Everything points to it.
The Stuba's revealing our spiritual forms today, everyone. Step right up.
Mara?
Who am I?
Next.
Who is she?
You didn't even talk about the our evening in Nandagram with Krishna Murari Goswami.
Oh, let's hear about it.
We went to this forest that it was like next level. He took me and
you did tell me about this forest that nobody's ever been to before.
Yeah, the evening program too.
Then we went back after the show, right after the show, the last time we did the show together. Then we went back to Nandagram, and it's like there is an entire other parallel Krishna conscious movement going on. And I don't mean like the Gaudiya Math, I mean, it's like all these people who worship Krishna and Balaram from Nandagram, where like this person's ancestors discovered these deities in a cave. And they're singing for the next 40 nights, they're singing holy songs. How Krishna is, he's very excited to play holy. That's the throwing of the colors to each other. And he was making this beautiful point, how you know, people want to wear their dirtiest clothes to holy because they're in the external version of holy, throwing colors on each other. You don't want to ruin your clothes, but they're saying they wear their most beautiful clothes because they're actually in another level of relating to Krishna. They want to please Krishna with what they're wearing and please the cowherd girls with what they're wearing. And this whole community that lives at Nandagram are obsessed with Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys going out throwing colors. And there's all these different songs they sing every night. and it fills. They have a special drum they break out just for the occasion. And if you're anywhere in Vrindavan right now, you got to get to Nandagram in the evening time for these songs. And I put some pictures up on Instagram and Raghunath Yogi to check out of the temple up there. I haven't been there in 30 years.
To Nandagram?
Yeah, and since 1993 or something. It's incredible.
It's a beautiful place. Beautiful place. Yeah. Speaking of Instagram, flipping it back out of the spiritual world into the material.
All right. We're keeping Instagram spiritual.
But yeah, somehow a picture of me as a 15-year-old just popped up with Bhakti Louie.
With Bhakti Louie from the show, singing for Antidote. You know what? All these things that we're calling mundane are actually completely transcendental.
It's all part of the divine
Lord's divine play. Here you have Bhakti Louie. He listens to the Bhagavatam every day. Probably missed only a few shows out of the almost 1,000 episodes, Kastuba. And there you are in the audience watching him. This is all. It's almost like all of us have been traveling for lifetimes. You know what I mean? In clumps, and then we get the mercy of the devotees, and it's changing our destinations.
It is far out. I mean, I suppose you're used to because you're in a popular band, so you're seeing these pictures all the time. But for me to see myself as a 15-year-old, just boom, out of nowhere, come out of this photograph that you didn't know existed, and there's Bhakti Louie, right there. I look like I weigh about 45 pounds.
You look like 45 pounds.
Cholo.
Soaking wet, holding on to a Shalagram Sheila.
Anyway, that was cool to see. If you want to see that, you go to Old School Hardcore. Or maybe I'll put it on my Facebook or something like that.
Put it on Wisdom of the Sages, man. Louis on the show.
Oh, okay.
You're on the show.
All right, I'll put it on Wisdom of the Sages. I'll put it on Wisdom of the Sages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, and I don't know if this is the public place to share this.
All right, go ahead. Am I going to regret this?
No, me and Mara and Kelly were overlooking the beautiful Jagdish Mandir, and we were having this incredible lunch at this. But these people, the restaurants are like Vaishnav restaurants, no onions and garlic. All the food is like incredible, next level stuff. And we were reading Krishna Lila of the story. This story
in the
about
restaurant.
Krishna.
You mean?
We've been reading a lot. And,
even in the restaurant. Okay, cool.
The restaurant we're reading before the food comes out. We don't want dead time. We're getting focused. We were getting ready to go to Vrindavan. We were reading in the restaurant. So while we're eating in the restaurant, there's a great pastime with it. Radharani's got the pearls. I'm sure you know it. And you won't give any to Krishna. So Krishna says, well, we have got our own pearls and we grow pearls and we put pearls in the ground. And the story goes, Krishna plants the pearls and the pearls grow into pearl trees. Yeah. You've heard that pastime before?
Not only have I heard it, I've written a script on it for a puppet show. But that's Raghunath Das Goswami's
puppet.
Yes, for puppet show.
Put that in your bio. Puppeteer.
Puppet master.
Check this out.
It's actually we could just tell that story today. It's the most incredible story. It's so great.
All right,
go ahead.
You're gonna tell the story right after
I'll
I tell you what happened.
Okay.
So as we're telling the story, Kelly Skinner, who was famous that we got for telling the alligator has no teeth story.
Right. Okay.
She looks at me and she goes, I didn't know pearls grew from trees. And Mara looks up from the book like this, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get this.
That's when I call her Crocodile Lady. She's got such a pure, innocent heart. That's what it is.
She's got a pure, innocent heart. And I take advantage of that. And I said, yeah, you didn't know pearls grow in trees? I said, well, they don't actually grow in a tree. They grow in a fruit. They're inside the fruit of a tree. She's like, inside the fruit of a tree.
You know how to shift it just a little bit
to make it believable. And then she's like, well, that's the real fruit. That's the real fruit then. I was like, yeah, that is the real fruit. I go, because you can't really eat the pearl fruits. But inside, I was like, you know what we should do? We should grow them at Super Soul as another source of making income. And Mara's like, yeah, let's grow them.
Mara
I said,
getting sucked in.
I said, we actually, I said, we actually have one pearl tree there, but it's just not doing well. We had to
Oh,
like
right.
really
Now you're pushing it, right?
No,
She's still buying all of it.
she's still buying all of it until I started. It needs a partner plant, and I said it needs like a diamond bush, and she's like, "Wait a second, there's no diamond bush."
Okay.
I had to let it go. Kelly Skinner, we love you. She just got back. Had a great time with her. All right,
So
why don't you tell that story?
I mean, we can go anywhere today, right? Okay, so fine. It is such a, there's so many treasures in the lineages, of our great teachers and acharyas that go back, right? So this was a story. Now you could say it was a story written by, but the way that in our lineage that we understand it was, this was yogis saw in their meditation, right?
Sure.
And that yogi
it's not like they just created it. If all this stuff is real, these high level devotees are actually in their meditation. Their meditation isn't blank, like a blank screen, like in the old days with your TV when it just goes beep. That's not what meditation is. Their meditation is they're going to other realms. They're in different. They're having different realizations in a different world. So tell what it's like.
And the deepest bhakti yogis, it says that they can, in their meditation, witness the flow of Krishna's Lilas, his pastimes. Mm-hmm. So your namesake, right? Are you the namesake? Or
I'm named after Raghunath Das Goswami.
You're named after Raghunath Das Goswami. Does that make you the namesake or him the namesake?
He's my namesake, I think.
He's your namesake. You don't know.
I don't know.
Mara, help us with that. Who's
help
the namesake?
Us, Mara. You went to private school, Mara. You should know these things. He's my namesake.
Work on the namesake one.
Yeah.
Okay. So in any case, the person that you're named after, Raghunath Das Goswami, right? Who's this glorious figure in our lineage, right? Who, as a young man, walked away from the greatest wealth because his devotion for Krishna was so intense, so strong, right?
Imagine if you had, it's at the point of he had billions of dollars.
Like
He's about to inherit, and he was just sort of like, not interested.
With an intensity, right? He was running away from home, and his parents were sending like guys to go and bring him back all the time.
Bringing him gold. He's going to get cold. Bringing him like a North Face sleeping bags. No, I don't want it. Not interested. Give me nothing. I need nothing.
And he went to live with Sri Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri, and there he was placed under the tutelage, you could say, the care of Svarup Damodar Goswami, another incredibly important person in our lineage. But Raghunath Das Goswami later went to Vrindavan, and he lived at Radhakund. And he wrote some very beautiful books. And this story, or this vision that he had, is called Mukta Charita, right? The character of liberation or something like that. In other words, this was his vision of this is what's going on in the liberated world. This is what's going on in the world where people are not bound by the forces of time and karma and the influence of the three gunas, right? Being influenced by passion or goodness or darkness. This is the Lila, the play, the divine adventure of those who are existing beyond all that. And
by the way, just hearing these stories, it gives us hope to move forward in our spiritual practice. Like, this is where we're going with this. We're going to be able to like sit there in meditation and just enter into other worlds.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Mara, did you come up with that yet?
Yes. No, Raghu is his namesake. One that has the same name as another, but if you're named after somebody.
So you're the namesake, Raghunath.
Yeah. Yes.
So then what is he? Well, then what is Raghunath Das Goswami? The name?
He's the name.
He's the sake. He's the sake.
Sake and saint.
Okay. So this story, I'm not going to be able to tell it in its complete fullness. Quite frankly, it is very esoteric. And it's really beyond me to even understand fully what's happening in it, because it's dealing with it gets into a very sophisticated dialogue. But let's put it simply, right? And I mentioned to you earlier that I once scripted it out as a as a puppet show that was suitable for children.
Give us the puppet version right now. You don't have to get too deep. Give us the essence of the story, please. This is getting way too long.
What happens is that, no, we could do the whole show on this, Raghunath. We could do the whole show on this one. But what happens is that Krishna sees the gopis, right? And they have some pearls, right? Isn't that how it starts? They're making some necklaces or something like that, right? And now we have to understand the nature of this relationship. The gopis, Radharani and her friends, they love Krishna, but they're not always willing to show it, right? They're in one sense, it has to be a little undercover because of the social situation they're in. They're young girls; they're not meant to be flirting with young boys, and but also in their own, even in their own private relationship, they're not. They got some sass, and they're not willing to just like be controlled by this incredibly beautiful, attractive boy, right? Like they can't allow themselves to just be puppets for him in a sense, right?
Sure. I mean, it's just like it's like the play between young lovers, and it's sort of it's teasy, it's sweet, it's
all that's there.
It's pouting, it's like poking, it's playing. It's I stole your book. You want some sweets? And this is going by, and it originates because this is actually going on in the spiritual world between the Purusha and the Krishna. Divine,
the original form, and so. Really what this whole story does in the end is it's meant to glorify Srimati Radharani, who I was speaking about earlier, as that most worshipable object in our lineage, like even more than God himself, we worship Radha because she is the embodiment of the potency, the Shakti, the energy of pure love.
The very thing we want, the very thing we want, the very thing aspire for.
Yeah, that we aspire for. And so Krishna asks, hey, could I have some of those pearls? I would like to decorate my cows with them, and they're getting sassy, right? They're like,
no, we don't.
We're not going to give you any.
Yeah, Krishna, who do you think you are? You're just some kid. Look at us.
Yeah, you think you're some special boy? Like, no. And then he begs, and they're being real resistant. Finally, he says, what about just one pearl? So I can make a nose ring for my favorite cow. Could you give me one pearl?
You're gonna put these pearls on a cow, Krishna? What are you kidding? Our pearls don't belong on cows.
Get it? So they all blow him off, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to stake a little ground, like, hey, we're independent here. We're not. Don't think we're just fawning over you 24/7. No, we've got some, of our own, pride here. You don't control us like this. So then Krishna, he must have been very young. He goes to his mother and he says, mother, can you give me some pearls? I want to plant them in the ground and grow pearl trees. And his mother just looks at Krishna. Now she's just the embodiment of motherly love, right? She looks at sweet little Krishna. Krishna, that's not how it works. Don't you know? Everybody knows that pearls they come from oysters, down deep in the sea. They don't grow on trees, But Krishna is so attractive, right? He's so beautiful that when he's begging, no, it'll work. Please, please, just give me a few pearls. I'll grow some trees. You'll see. And she's like, what can I do, right? He's just, when that, and I'd imagine as a parent, everyone has some kind of experience like that where their child is just so adorable that whatever you want, I'll do, right? And so what to speak of when it's Krishna, the very embodiment of all adorability, right? So Mother Yashoda, she says, okay, let me get you. She gives him a handful of pearls, right? And he goes and finds a little plot of land and he's putting the pearls in the ground and he's pouring milk on top of them, right? To kind of water them with milk, right? And the gopis are checking him out like, what are you doing?
This foolish boy.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, I'm going to grow some pearls.
You want my pearls? You're never going to get my pearls. You're never going to get these pearls.
He said, you see, I'm going to grow some pearls, and then you're going to be sorry that you ever treated me the way that you treated me. And they're like, this, you don't know what you're doing. You look ridiculous out here pouring milk on the thing. What's the matter with you? Have you lost it? They're really letting him have it, right? They're really laying into him. to understand this, there's a very deep theological like implications here, right? That Krishna.
Right now it sounds like a Warner Brothers cartoon, right?
Right.
It's not.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah. Raghunath Das Goswami, you keep, and Sarup Damodar and the and the other Goswamis, their writings, these were the brilliant theologians, brilliant philosophers, next level stuff.
Once you say theologian, my brain turns off. Boring, not interested. It's stuffy. It's uptight. But when you hear these pastimes, they're like, it's almost like cartoonish. So there's an interesting bridge between both. The deepest philosophy is wrapped up in these almost like childlike stories,
and they can be enjoyed.
You could do in a puppet show.
And there you go. And they can be appreciated by children all the way up to the greatest philosophers, right? It's like they're for everyone.
We always say, you're reading the Ramayana to your kids. I got some new books for Tarun. We started reading about Veda Vyas last night. But but yeah, it's like they're read to little children, and little children read them, and then they take on a whole different meaning when you're in puberty, when you're married, when you're in your midlife, when you're in your 50s, and you'll be reading these stories when you're 80 years old, and it will be the perfection of your life. It is it's like an acorn. It's something beautiful. It's something like geometrically interesting. It's something it's like a piece of art. Then it sprouts. Then it grows to a sapling. Then it grows into a tree. Then it gives tens of thousands of more acorns, and it has a different type of beauty at every phase of its life. That's what these things do. They unfold for us.
And speaking of sprouts, so Krishna is, the girls have blown him off, and he's sitting there. And by the way, this is written in Sanskrit poetry, like elaborate Sanskrit poetic verse, all of this.
Right.
And so they come by a few days later, and there's a few little sprouts poking up from the earth. Now, Krishna's like, okay, everything's going according to plan. He's looking over at the gopis. They're looking over at that. And although internally they're a little concerned that maybe this is actually going to work, they're a little concerned. But externally they say, that's just some thorn bushes there. That's nothing. This is absurd, right?
It's coincidence. It's coincidence.
It's just some coincidence. Some thorn bushes growing there. You're not growing pearls. That's absurd. But they grow and they grow. And very quickly,
plump, juicy, delicious pearls harvested.
Right. That's right. It says that the pearls of different sizes, big pearls, little pearls, pearls of different colors, pearls with different fragrances were growing from these plants, from these creepers. And the girls are looking over and they're saying, oh man, it's like Krishna pulled off what he said he was going to do, and this is making us look bad. He came over and asked the
interesting thing is, it's like anything you could imagine, like magical like that, it's actually happening. It's just in other realms. And these great saints, when they write this beautiful poetry down, these stories in this beautiful Sanskrit prose, it gives us like a window into a spiritual realm. It's not just like, hey, I can think of some funny, crazy stories right now. It's not that. It's not like I'm like this interesting, creative guy who just renounced the world. No, it's not that. They're actually leaving this realm and entering into another and reporting back. Here's what I saw. And then they just recite it in this beautiful Sanskrit prose. And how do they write them down? With a typewriter, with Microsoft Word? No, on palm leaves. They carved it into palm leaves.
Yeah.
Amazing. You can still get these palm. It's not like this stuff is lost. And you can still find these things. Yeah. Did you see those people at the Eco Village that are actually doing that? They're actually collecting all these ancient.
No, they're here too. They're here too. And as a matter of fact, Gauranga Prabhu gave a whole presentation on that at this big conference.
They're just also gathering these old books that were written on palm leaves and old letters, and it's so interesting. This stuff is still not only is it accessible, it's still like waiting to be. They're like treasure trunks waiting to be opened.
Okay. That these aren't ordinary books. These are treasures,
Treasures, and because it hasn't been like that widely known about, they've just sort of like been lost over time. In the same way you might have like an old Lionel train set in your basement that your father
no, they say that's what the deal is. Like
with.
People have this stuff sitting in their basement that like they don't even know what it is. And they're like, oh, that was written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, 150 years ago. And it's like an incredibly important work.
It's an incredible, important book.
Yeah. Okay. So the girls are looking at those sprouts, and now they're looking at the pearls, and they're realizing, hold it. He's on the up here. Now we're on the down, right? He asked us for even one pearl. We blew him off. He told us he was going to grow pearls. We totally, made fun of him for it. And now it's actually working. And
now
he's
harvesting pearls. He's harvesting
pearls. So they hatch up a scheme. We have to bust into the storehouses of our parents' jewelry. We have to get whatever pearls we can. They huddle up and they say, okay, go into your homes, find your mother's jewelry, get the pearls, bring them here. We're going to plant them in the ground. We're going to be able to replace them because we're going to do just like Krishna. We're going to have trees with other pearls, but we got to get our pearl farm going. And so they all go and they get the pearls. They steal them, right?
They got pearls. I mean, Radharani's from a Kshatriya family. Kirtida and Vrindavan, they've got pearls.
Royalty. They plant these pearls in the ground. They're pouring milk on them, and then some sprouts start to come.
They're excited.
And they're growing up more. And it turns out, what does it turn out?
Weeds.
Thorn bushes. Exactly what they said.
Right. Exactly what they said Krishna's was.
Yeah, they got thorns.
And this is all going on through the windows of the spiritual world, seen by Raghunath Das Goswami for our benefit, to give us a glimpse, a preview of things yet to come in your life, Kaustubha. Okay. It's coming, Kaustubha. You're going to be like an old man sitting in Vrindavan. Just close your eyes, leave your world behind. Your subji's getting cold, and you're going to enter right in there. You're going to be picking pearls. You're going to be picking pearls. You're going to have a little cowgirl body. You're going to be picking pearls. And I'm going to be sitting next to you just eating subji, going, what are you doing? Why are you eating? And you're just like, I'm getting pearls, Raghunath. It's like, try this sweet ball, Kaustubha. I'm going to be completely on the bodily platform, and you're going to be like dressed as a young maiden girl harvesting.
I won't do that. I won't go there. But okay. So by the way, have you ever been to that place, to the Kund? What is it called again? It's right near Radha Kund. Have you been there before? Where this pastime took place? It's called something like Mulyahari Kund.
Oh yeah, Mulyahari Kund.
Have you been there?
Where is that? I have, but I can't.
Like if you're on the Prikrama of Govardhan, just before you get to Radha Kund, you just make a little detour just out. You're almost at Radha Kund at that point.
Never went. But me and Mara, by the way, did Radha Kund Prikram. I mean, Govardhan Prikram.
Govardhan Prikram.
30,000 steps we got that day.
Oh, you counted them, huh? Cool.
Counted my steps, a little step.
Those are the best steps you took on the whole.
It was the best. It was the best steps. I was even stepping in the plane yesterday. I was just stepping, walking around that plane. I got. How many Mara did I get in the plane? Steps did I get in the plane?
A few thousand, I think.
Yeah, 2,000, at least 2,000 in the plane alone, just pacing. Everyone thought I was like a nutcase, just pacing back and forth.
I'm sure they did. counting.
I had a great plane ride. 7 hours slept, chanted japa, listened to audiobooks, stepping the whole way.
Nice. Okay. Right. So now the girls are stuck now. They took the pearls from their parents and they've got nothing to replace them with. Meanwhile, Krishna is growing pearls like crazy. He's wearing tons of pearls. All his friends are wearing tons of pearls. All his cows are decorated with pearls. Even the monkeys are wearing pearls. Everybody's got pearls except the girls now, and they're in big trouble because
they buried them.
Yeah, and they're coming back to Krishna now. They're humbled, right? It's like they were all sassy before. I was like, could we be able to get a few pearls? Are you kidding me? I went over there and humbly begged from you. I asked for just one pearl for my cow, and you blew me off. Then I started my pearl farm, and you had nothing but cruel words to say to me. You just made fun of me. And now you're coming over here and begging for pearls? Really?
It's more transcendental, romantic teasing of each other to
Exactly.
excite the rasa, to excite this rasa and this love building and building.
Well, you see, because this is what it sets up, Raghunath. It sets up the negotiation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now both sides had to sit down to negotiate, and they had mediators too, And this is where I will not go into finer detail, but this is where a lot of like Krishna's very bold and romantic and erotic, messages he sent. In other words, okay, what do we need to give pearls? And he's saying, well, what's the value of this pearl? I need something of equal value. The jewel of your eyes, the beauty of the jewel of your eyes. I need your eyes. The beauty of your the ruby red of your lips. You need to, and he goes further and further and further, which is on one hand a very forward thing for a young boy to say to a girl. It's like, actually, like, how could he say such a thing? But he's expressing it in the most beautiful poetry. And when he's speaking, it's cutting right into their hearts, and they're torn. It's stimulating the deepest spiritual emotions in them. And this goes back and forth and back and forth. And it's full of incredibly clever and subtle conversation that's involving all kinds of subtleties in the Sanskrit, right? Mm-hmm. All kinds of subtleties philosophically. It's a very highly elevated, conversation, not only in terms of like, in terms of like the grammar and the literacy of it, and the poetry of it, but also in terms of the rasa in it, in terms of the emotions that are being expressed.
Yeah. All my deepest philosophical understandings come from puppet shows.
Yeah. Well, this part we didn't put in the puppet show. Okay, like we kind of skipped over this. And honestly, it's something that I can't truly relish. It's something that can only be truly relished by people that are free of material desires, free of lust, and then even beyond that, understanding Sanskrit grammar deeply and understanding poetry and poetics very deeply. It is incredibly deep literature that's beyond my ability to understand. But eventually what happens is the negotiations fall apart, right? And well, you see, part of what happens in these negotiations is part of it's almost like a court case, and the girls are trying to establish that Radharani is the queen of Vrindavan. So really anything that's grown in Vrindavan, she can legally tax, right? Yeah. And so therefore Krishna actually owes her pearls. And in the course of that, Radharani is coronated as the queen of Vrindavan. So, and the description of that coronation is very beautiful and meaningful. And what it is it gives every devotee of Radha and Krishna an opportunity to understand the worship, the beautiful, subtle worship of Srimati Radharani as the Queen of Vrindavan. That's kind of my understanding of where this Leela goes. Is it gives us that vision. And then at the very end, Krishna makes a little box, right? And he puts, I think he makes one for each one of the gopis, and he personally chooses pearls that he puts in there for them, and he writes their name on it and a little message, and he sends by messenger these gifts to the gopis, and then they receive those gifts and they look at them, and it kind of brings the pastime to its a very beautiful, sweet conclusion, where like they're no longer being sassy with each other, but their love for each other is kind of openly revealed like that. But it's
Kastuba, this stuff draws you in. It just draws you in. Now you could say, well, everything just draws you in. You get it to baseball, that'll draw you in. You get it to like pimping out your car, that'll draw you in. It's true. Everything does draw you in. Drugs draw you in, but this draws you in. And as it draws you in, you're changing, you're transforming, you're becoming cleaner, lighter, brighter. You let go of bad habits. Everything of this world draws you in, but this stuff draws you in. and like refines you as a being. It strips away every layer of fakeness and pretense we've been carrying around for lifetimes.
Boom.
And leaves us with the jewel that we are. We're all jewels.
Raghunath, what happened to you there in Brudge? You were really flowing right now. Yeah.
You know what it was. You know what it was.
What was
when
it?
you go to Vrindavan?
Yeah.
Don't hang out in Vrindavan.
No.
Intensify your days. Like you just go. You go. I don't want to hear rest. No resting. Just immerse yourself in Brudge, the dust of Brudge, the Brajabasis, the people of Brudge, the Kirtans of Brudge. Never have downtime in Brudge. Like, what do you want to do today? No. We went there with a mission, and we only had 2.5 days, and we went for it. Kelly Skinner, props to her, Mara, right?
Yeah,
she
definitely.
Was like, she got sick on the last day. She's like, I'm going out anyway. She just went. She had to like lay on her side at one point, but she just went anyway. And it was just like, it was blissful. It was blissful. And I'm so eager to be there right now. And in that desire to go back, that's when you have to leave. You have to leave quick when you're like, wait a second, I wanted to do A, B, C, D, and E. Then you want to come back again. And that's the mood. That's why it's, you really have to be like shown Brudge, and people have to be given to it. You have to get it from a person who's got a taste for it. Because what'll happen is you'll go there, I didn't see it. Yeah. You won't have the right perspective.
Right.
Just like right now, there's a lot of things going on in this room, but I have the perspective because I'm focused on you. So I'm just seeing your face. There's a mridanga to my right. There's a TV over there. There's a couch over there. There's a plant. I'm not looking at anything else. So if you go to Brudge without a proper focus and perspective and vantage point, you'll see some trash on the ground. You hear a diesel tractor go by. You'll get some waft of some gasoline burning, and you won't have the proper perspective. You have to go in like that with the focus and perspective. And then it's just like, what happened to me? Where am I? Immediately when we got to that airport, Mara was like, we're leaving the spiritual realm. Like, it really felt that way.
You know, Raghunath, what you're saying, I really appreciate what you are speaking truths right now. It's like, this is really important for people to hear. People may not understand it. They may think, well, no, I just want to go there and check the place out, or but you go back to the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya. When Sri Chaitanya was living in Jagannath Puri, his friend, his lifelong friend, his elevated associate, Jagadananda Pandit, wanted to visit Vrindavan, right? He's like, I've never gone to Vrindavan. Could I have your permission, dear Lord, to go visit Vrindavan? I want to go.
And that's the mood. That's the mood. Because you're not going. Yeah. This isn't TripAdvisor. Where do I want to go? TripAdvisor. What looks Vietnam? This isn't Vietnam. We're not even going to holy places. We're going to Dhams. We're going to like spiritual realms that have been transported somehow mystically to this planet. You can't even fathom how could you bind time and space and place and acres and into an area, but it's like that. And so you beg permission to have your blessings to go to this place.
Now, when he begged permission, Sri Chaitanya said, no, you don't. You will not understand it when you go there. Better that you do not go. But he would again return to him. I've never been to Vrindavan. I really want to go. Can I go? No, you can't. It's not good for you to go. You're going to go there. You're not going to understand it properly. It won't. Finally, he gave in. He said, you can go. But when you go, you stay for only 3 days, and you do not leave the side of Sanatana Goswami the entire time that you're there. Right?
Ooh.
Right? In other words, he says, there's someone that I trust over there. There's just like you're saying, someone that can help you understand it, someone that can open your eyes up to it, right? You're not just wandering around like a tourist. You're not lazing around on vacation. You're going there to get to experience something, to see something, to hear something, to taste something that's real and true, and you got to be focused on it. And it's something it's not on the surface. You got to go deep into it, and you need someone to take you there. Don't leave their side for a second the entire time that you're there. So even this, he was a sannyasi. He was a pure associate of Sri Chaitanya. Yeah. Still, right? Don't leave the side of Sanatana Goswami the 3 days, and don't leave his side. He said like that.
Right. And that's how we understand we're getting realizations anyway. We're getting from serving great souls, from being around other devotees who are like imparting stuff to us, and it's trickling down. That flow of bhakti is like a waterfall, and you have to be standing in the waterfall to receive that water. You can't be outside it just looking at the waterfall. Then you're going to get the view of a tourist, and it's just a completely different mood. And I'm almost like shocked how, because in the old days we used to go before internet. It's even hard to even imagine how you did anything before internet. But you just like go to we'd fly into the Delhi airport, which back then was insane. And, it was like completely like an explosion went off, and you're flying into this place. And then you get in some jalopy cab ambassador that takes you on a 1-lane road. And then you're like in some private world that no one knows about, and you barely communicate with anybody.
Right.
Now it's sort of like, oh, it's up there on TripAdvisor with a bunch of other places I can visit. Oh, check out that hotel. What are the ratings of this hotel? It wasn't like that before. You know, so it's like it's easy to just think, well, it's just the same. It's like, it's like when we study yoga, and then we'll go to a gym. There'll be yoga at a gym, and there's also cardio kickboxing, and there's ab hour or whatever there is going on in the gym. Yoga is something different. It's not, don't put yoga in with ab hour. Yoga is like a bridge to the spiritual realm, if we're doing it right. These aren't ordinary places. And so I'm addicted to this place. I'm addicted to it. It's okay. I'm happy about that addiction.
Good. I think that's it, Raghunath. We talked about the Pearl pastime. These are just, they're not ordinary children's stories.
No, it can appear that
deep. This is the deepest meditations, right? These are the deepest, meaningful, rasa filled with spiritual emotion, pastimes, leelas.
Now, I'm wondering if Mara had anything to say.
Mary, got any notes today? Takeaways?
Yeah.
You got notes? She's a good note taker. She's a good note taker. You know what that means?
Real on point.
It means she listens.
Yeah, she's not knitting. I noticed she's not knitting today.
No, you know what? She's on the edge of her seat, listening, writing stuff down.
I appreciate the takeaways. It does help me focus.
Did you what time did you wake up this morning, Mara?
I slept until like 5 a.m.
Oh, look at you. Okay,
yeah.
Good for you.
Like that. All right.
Yeah.
I woke up at 1. I did an infrared sauna. I did 8,000 steps on my treadmill, chanting japa slow. I did a puja. I had a great morning, but I woke up at 1 a.m. Okay.
All right, Mary, hit it.
All right. Cultivate a relationship with the deities to incur magic.
Okay.
You can incur magic.
Radha is the most worshipable.
She is.
Krishna Lila, it's not a Warner Brothers cartoon.
Nope.
Immerse yourself in Braj with proper focus and perspective, and never have downtime.
Good advice.
No downtime allowed.
Bhakti is trickling down from great souls. Immerse yourself in the flow.
Get in that flow.
Krishna Lila draws you in, purifies and refines you.
Very good.
Yep.
Yoga. Yep. Yoga is a bridge to the spiritual realm, not after ab hour.
Not after what hour?
Ab hour.
After ab hour? What's ab hour?
Were you listening?
After
ab? Ab hour.
Oh, they have like an ab
gym.
hour?
Some
Okay.
gyms.
You work on your abs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ab hour.
Okay.
Water your pearl acorns with milk.
You could try it.
And pearls don't grow on trees.
But they do. But they do.
But they do.
You know what? My wife got when we did the puppet show, my wife played the voice of Radharani in that puppet show.
Oh.
And she writes
Radharani had a British accent.
And it was a good accent for it. And Radharani writes a letter to Krishna to Krishna and all of his associates, I think, in that pastime during the negotiation period. And there's one phrase that Radharani spoke, and my wife speaks it all the time now. May auspiciousness reign. May auspiciousness
May
reign.
auspiciousness reign. It's a beautiful day for a beautiful day. It's Rocco's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday to Rocco.
The boy is 16 years old today.
Wow.
Give him some love. I'm going to post some pictures on Instagram. Give him some love, everybody.
Okay.
And yeah.
When he was at that age or even younger, it was that picture of me and that CBGBs with Bhakti Louie. Crazy to think that, right?
It's crazy to think that. Yeah. I've sheltered this child.
Good for you.
From the cruel world. All right, I got to go. I got to take kids to school, make some breakfast. It's a beautiful day for a beautiful day, everybody. Let the love continue to flow.